The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Vibe of the Tribe, where energy meets wisdom, giving you something to think about. I'm your host, TEE, aka Church Girl. And sis, introduce yourself.
I am Lila.
My name is Andre Burleson.
Pastor Nate.
All right, so Nate, you are going to have to do a more extensive introduction of our new youngster.
Okay.
So if you would please,
Want the long or the short version?
you just give a long version if you could.
The long version. Oh wow. Okay. Let's start with. I ran this program at Audubon, which
Audubon in the house. Whoop,
That's
whoop.
right. That's right. It was I'm gonna try to make it short. It was an experimental program with LAUSD. Wanted to go back to a single gender, classrooms because they wanted to close the achievement gap for boys. So they created this curriculum strictly for boys where everything was interactive. They had teachers trained in the special pedagogy on how boys learn.
Yeah.
And nothing was traditional. Everything was outside of the box.
At
So
Audubon?
they took 3 schools and they did a pilot, program. So it started with Bradley, Audubon, and Crenshaw. And guess who got appointed to be the director over that program?
Give it to me.
So
my bro.
now it was one of the few times that I ran a program for youth where I wasn't able to be hands-on because
Okay.
I was the administrator, but I floated at each school.
Okay.
So in the process of me floating at each school, I got to know some of the kids gradually here and there, just a little bit because I wasn't hands-on,
Right.
which I like to be.
Okay.
Then we had to replace one of our Audubon staff.
Okay.
And in the meantime, while we were trying to find a replacement, I set my office up over there. So I
Okay.
got to be more hands-on with the Audubon kids. Even though I was still floating around throughout the day, I would float at the other schools. So I got to be hands-on with the kids, and he is one of the kids.
That's crazy.
Now, mind you, though, that was like 2007,
How did you
2008.
reconnect?
Social media, but once, but what it was is I think we found some mutual friends because he used to study martial arts under Ahmad. Correct?
That's hilarious.
So he was our mutual friend. So as an adult, we just found each other on social media and stayed in touch. And I would follow him. I'm gonna let you talk about yourself, but he is a hilarious actor to me. Now I'm silly, so it doesn't take much to make me laugh, but this cat makes me laugh. Start following him, and so I was
already
like, this
did.
dude's got a lot of talent.
Okay.
And so we just started talking about that, what his goals are. He's an aspiring actor. He should be a comedic writer, but I think he's just really great at performing.
Is
and
he
so,
in your latest film?
no, he's not. See, don't put me on.
That was a great question.
Sorry.
But we talked about it. We
Okay.
talked, and what I always say to everybody is that once I'm in that position, I'll always make the opportunities open for everybody who knows me because
Okay.
I figure you know me. I'm gonna give you some benefit to
Okay.
knowing me. Everybody can't get that,
Okay.
and I can't make any promises because I'm not in every department. But
Okay.
it will at least make it known.
Okay.
And so when you asked for a youth, and when you said the age range, I was like, oh, I know the perfect person because we've been in touch lately.
The
and
perfect
person.
That's good to hear. You can say that a lot. You can say that again.
Wow.
It was thank you, man. It was good to know that was an experiment
Well.
growing up, and that's what's up. I like that a lot. I feel like that program was a good segue into my life because it was so many different types of people. Even it was all the same people I knew in my community, but I feel like I learned how to be more than what I was raised up to be. You know what I mean?
That's good.
That's good.
Exposure.
That's good.
It was great exposure, and there was a lot of great incentives too, which he had like this Xbox 360 as like, hey, if you do all your homework and you come in the after school program,
You got
could
action.
potentially win this. I was like, I want to potentially win.
Oh, that's cool.
And I just remember just being about my business and being about my life and being about my my homework because I had to, because he raised me up to.
All
And
right.
that was good, so I appreciate
Can
you.
I call
man.
you Dre?
You could call me
Okay.
that. Absolutely.
Okay. So Dre was in the Navy.
Blessings.
We got a Navy man.
All right.
Thank you for serving.
Right on, right on.
Oh, so
And he's also an actor. So you guys look out for Andre Burleson. Again, Audubon in the house.
Yeah.
Woo, woo. Now, man, I count it both a blessing and a miracle to be back.
Yeah.
Like,
Likewise.
seriously, right here, right now. It feels good.
It does.
Now, Nate and Lila, the last time I saw you guys was here.
It was
Yeah, it was
here.
like December
at the end of
2019. The last day of
2019.
2019.
Before
Check this out.
going into
Check this out. Like, let's have a moment.
Really?
Right.
No,
A
really.
lot has happened since I saw you both.
Yeah, I mean-
like a lot has happened.
Like world changing.
World
Yeah, yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
The world
See,
has
this
changed.
is-
Like, really.
It's
the
a different
world
now.
has literally
It's a different world.
changed
Yeah, it's a
since
different
we
world.
last saw each other.
Literally.
It's bananas.
It's nuts.
It's bananas. And like more than 500,000 people are dead.
Gone out of here.
And I heard the numbers in India are
Oh,
crazy right
it's
now. Like they dropping like
bananas.
flies.
And they are over capacity. They just don't have the resources they need at all.
It's
to-
very, very heartbreaking.
Yeah, no.
Very heartbreaking.
It
So
is.
to say the least, I feel so blessed. But check this out. When we had our last encounter, I said, tell me, did I say we were making history?
You did.
I said we are making history, but I promise you, I did not know
Who
that we were
knew?
speaking prophecy.
Who knew?
I did not know that we were. I'm telling you, it's deep for me.
Yeah.
I always said that, I had this special fondness for you two.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
We love
I
you
love you
likewise,
guys.
likewise.
No, seriously, I love you guys. But I knew when we connected that it was going to be something divine.
Yeah.
However, I've listened to our podcast multiple
I had
times.
to.
And girl, no, seriously, because Lila said my opening was. We're gonna quickly recap, audience. Well, in December 2019, we were themed hashtag 2020 Vision. Your in-look determines your outlook. And I opened saying, "What's your word for 2020?" And Lila said.
I don't remember.
Please don't ask me.
Okay. So Lila's word, I remember vividly. Lila's word was surrender.
Ooh.
What was my word?
Hold on, I'm getting there. Lila's word was surrender, but Lila did not know that her word was going to be the world's word
my
for 2020. Like the world had to surrender to a global pandemic.
Child,
When I
was
tell you I
speaking
got
things into
chills,
existence, child.
I got chills. And then she said that she was open to the process. That I was done.
See,
process.
I was
see that
done.
right there.
I
That's
was
a message right
done.
there.
I'm
That's a
telling
message.
you.
That's a message.
I'm telling you. So if you did not tune in, I encourage you to go back and listen to that podcast in retrospect so you can see we didn't even know. We didn't even know that we were speaking prophecy, and it was very deep. So these podcasts, we reached 3,961 people in counting.
Wow.
And let me just say this, in the IG world, that ain't really a lot.
That's a lot.
But I tell you what, our goal is to reach 1.
Yeah.
So we winning.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, I mean,
right,
we could
right.
do a matrix on what numbers really mean.
Okay,
could
there we
really
go.
break
Okay.
that
Because if that's
down.
3,000 people that you actually know,
Hello?
Right.
that's a
Right.
lot versus
Right.
a million people
Right.
who just
Right.
Look, so
see you.
We can
Yeah.
get into
It's a
all
lot
of
of
that.
people.
Right.
I want to say something really
Okay.
quickly though, because I have watched the podcast several times,
Okay.
right? But when you're watching yourself, you don't always listen to what
Yeah.
you're saying. You kind of skip past that sometimes.
Not
I feel like
me.
Audubon where I didn't do my homework and y'all did y'all, man.
No, Nate, I haven't watched it recently. But right after we filmed, I watched it over and over and over, sort of getting my mind ready for the new year. Completely forgot that was my word for the year. And listen, we can't do nothing but surrender. I mean,
Right.
we
The
could have fought
world.
the process, and a lot of people have fought the process, but
No, I don't care how much you fought it. You had to surrender to what was
Right.
going on
Right.
if you didn't want to
Right.
die.
yeah, right.
Okay, and then the next thing, Nate, my bro, his word was freedom. And the thing that that gut punched me with Nate. He didn't know he was this dude. First of all, okay, I ain't gonna go into it. I won't use our time
well,
for that.
I need to hear. I need to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah.
I need to hear how you see.
I'm not gonna tickle your
perked up.
ears.
He
But
perked
okay,
up. He's like,
he's a deep dude. So he said that the slaves came to America in 1619, add 400 years, which would have brought us at that moment of the podcast to 2019. And he proclaimed that this could be the year of freedom. And he gave different examples of what kind of freedom. One, specifically, physical oppression. When he said physical oppression, first thing, as soon as Black Lives Matter, I'm talking about the global protest for social injustice, my mind went right back to him. And I'm talking about, it's the first time in our lifetime that we had the world fist pumping, painting streets, flags, white folk, black folk, Mexican, young, across the demographic, cross transcultural, saying, okay, enough is enough
in the middle of a pandemic.
In the middle of a
middle.
pandemic.
Right.
It was deep. It was deep. And then the last thing that I'll recap on is I said, and my own words gave me chills. I said, in the world we're living in now, we have the trafficking, the this, the that. You got to get your mind right.
Tough.
See,
And when I said it with a motherly
Yeah.
spirit.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying, listen, y'all better stop playing
Yeah.
because it's about to get real. And Lila said, because I said, you got to get your mind right. And you said, for whatever is coming.
Ooh.
You gotta be ready.
But what was cold is we had no
didn't know.
idea.
We didn't know.
2020 was a mother.
I mean,
2020 was a mother.
and that's still relevant for right now. Matter of
It's
fact,
still
when we
relevant.
get to our topic, that's
Come on.
I'm not gonna give you
Okay.
sneak previews, but it's
Who
still
knew?
relevant. It's still relevant.
Who knew? Who
it
knew?
won't ever not be relevant,
There you go.
right?
There you
It
go,
won't
that
ever
part.
not be relevant.
Yeah.
It's just history.
And that's why, I'm making a disclaimer now. I might cuss. And I'm going to try not to pound on the table.
Too late.
But, right. But on some real stuff, we dealing with some stuff right now. I mean, and if your mind, if ever there was a time that you really needed to focus on mindfulness,
yeah,
it's now.
yeah.
Seriously,
No.
you got to be in the moment because things changing so rapidly. Like the whole global protest, I'm not going to lie. At that moment, I was like, finally, the world sees us.
Yeah.
And I was so hopeful and prayerful that at that point, laws are going to change. People going to look at us differently. They're going to finally give us our respect. They're going to finally, we ain't going to get our 40 acres and a mule, but they're going to finally, and then boom. I mean, and just right after the Chauvin trial, we going to get to that. Right after the Chauvin trial, I mean, was it the same day they killed the 15-year-old?
Yeah, it was
girl?
girl.
And so
Certainly the trial was going on, right? I don't
Yeah.
know that we had the verdict yet, but the trial was going. Did we?
That part I don't know about.
Yeah, the trial was
timeline,
going on for
but
sure.
It was the same day.
Yeah.
we got to get to the grimy part though, the nitty and the gritty. But I want to do a round robin.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the youngster.
Okay.
Which event of 2020 impacted you the most? And if you could, I got a few questions that I want to touch on that are deep.
Please.
So give me some gutter answer, but keep it brief and tell me a why. What was the event of 2020 that impacted you the most and why?
Honestly, I was so ready to leave the Navy to start my new life, which was supposed to be college and moving to LA, that I didn't even think about a plan B or anything else could happen, right? I was like, I'm preparing myself for this new future. Whatever happens, it's going to happen,
Okay.
Lord willing. And then I moved back to LA in March.
Ooh.
As soon as it hit.
Man.
So I was like, fuck it.
Right. No, literally.
Literally, now I have to do something because my plan A, B, and C went out the window.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the biggest thing that affected me this year or last year was just my own self and my own mental planning. Because I feel like pandemics, this happened before. This happened almost like what?
100 years ago?
Right.
ago. This happened before. This is not new.
Yeah.
It's just new to us, and
Yeah.
it's new to this
Okay.
generation.
Right.
And for the older generation, it's still like it's not. This you guys didn't go through some crazy stuff like this.
Nothing like this.
So how do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for something that
We still ain't prepared.
still aren't prepared? And so sometimes I think about that. It's like, am I still prepared? Even if everything were to open back up, will I still be prepared for that?
I mean, we still can't get toilet paper and Lysol.
Yeah.
Lysol, man, that's like
A
gold.
commodity.
That's like
I'm
gold.
telling you.
I sprayed some
Right.
Lysol this morning. I was so happy. To have
But was it? What was it?
did.
Was it generic
No,
Lysol
it
or
was
was it
real
real
Lysol.
Lysol?
Was it
Like,
lemon?
let me
Was
I
it
tell
paid
you.
$200 for a
And
cake.
I had to get a
And
few.
I've been
when I found
rationing.
it, yeah, I had to, I had to go on and buy a few.
I'm not
of
gonna
them,
tell you
but-
my secret place for toilet paper.
You
Some
are
of the
funny.
underlooked places.
Literally.
Everybody's going to the grocery store and
Gotta go to Mom and Pops.
Do you want me to? Well, it's not really a shortage now.
Don't
Yeah,
tell it
it's
because
not a
it's not really a shortage,
not-
but
it's
we
not
don't know
bad.
what's to come.
Right,
so you
right,
need to,
right. I'll
if
tell
you're
y'all
not a
off the air.
stocker-upperer, you need to start being a
Have you seen
stocker-upperer.
her stockpile?
My
you got
sister
it?
did that
I
for me
saw.
though.
She got all the toilet paper.
Yeah.
I'm not into the stockpiling thing.
I'm not either.
Right.
But after that experience, when I had to go buy a case of Kleenex for the wiping pleasures,
You are funny.
I was
She's
like, this
I'm
ain't
not
this
gonna
ain't
let
hitting
this
on
happen
nothing.
to my-
This ain't never happened to me because that Kleenex be ripping.
I remember you asked where to find the masks at because masks were rare. The good masks that really work.
Yeah.
those were rare.
Yeah,
for me.
and I
Yeah.
I was paying. I got a girlfriend who had a beauty supply. I literally paid $100 for a box of 12 because I was not gonna be in no hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And y'all not protecting me.
Right.
I'm gonna have me a mask.
Yeah.
That's funny. Everybody's main concern was, all right, the world is dying. I better be able to wipe my ass.
Right on some real
I
stuff.
be able
mean,
to
that's
wipe
On
the
some real-
most primal. You know, when you're in an
Primal.
emergency,
Primal.
you get down to your most primal instincts.
Man,
I mean, which is
water.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
You
know,
couldn't even get water in the
eat,
store.
sleep.
And
Right.
I mean, I don't.
I don't want to walk around with
I'm
Dookie.
saying,
I don't wanna
those
walk
are our
around.
four most primal instincts. Y'all didn't catch the last
I
two
heard
words.
it. I heard
But
it.
that's it.
I heard it. I'm lacking on that, but you know, I'm working on it.
That's the word. I feel it.
Sis, what was the?
there were so many events. I mean,
Give me the most.
the
impactful.
most impactful was Breonna Taylor's death. And when I look back on it, so March 13th was my last day in the office. It was the day I had to tell my staff, this is it. We're not coming back here. In fact, I didn't let them come into the office that day. I was like, that Thursday, that's it. I went into the office to straighten some things up. We got to work remote. And that was a whole situation in itself, just getting ready to be able to work remotely, right? When I look back at that date, that was the same date that Breonna died. But that was the one thing. I mean, you know, if you know me, you know I'm all about power to the people and blackity black, right? But Breonna Taylor's murder is what actually got me out in the streets.
And you was out in the streets.
I was out in the streets.
Megaphone. Out in the streets.
Out in the streets. And just thinking of, like, that was my last day of working and preparing for whatever was to come. She's sleeping in her bed, and some cops come in and murder her 6 times asleep.
It's sickening.
That still
It's sickening.
makes
Because
me
it can
sick.
happen. First of all, we have to acknowledge with everything going on, that can happen to any of us.
It
can happen
her,
to
it
any
can
of us.
anybody.
I was this close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Yeah, go.
I was 8 years old, and I'll try to give you a short version of it. My mother, came home drunk. She was like throwing a tantrum, doing whatever she was doing, and making a lot of noise. Now, I don't know exactly what happened, but I know shortly after that, mind you, I'm about 8. My brother's 6. My older brother's, he's 4 years older, so he was 10 or, damn, I got my math, 12, 13. And shortly after that, the police, the LAPD, Southwest, come flying overhead. Nathaniel, John, and Harold come outside with your hands up. Now, mind you, I knew at then, they must not know we're kids. And they're yelling. The helicopter came so low, the house was shaking. They're shining their light so bright, that it's almost penetrating through the whole house. So my mother made us go hide in the bed. So we got in the bed, got under the covers. And they keep saying it, Nathaniel, John, and Harold, come outside with your hands up. And finally, the ground crew came, and I'm only hearing because I'm, scared to death. They come to the back door. My mother goes and answers the back door. And while she's talking to them, some more come to the front door. And they're banging at the front door. And then she's saying, I'm coming. And she's running to the front door. And before she got to it, they kicked the door open. I'm hearing all this.
Rush.
They come storming into our house looking for Nathaniel, John, and Harold. You know, and so they found us in the bed, snatched us up out the bed, put us up against the wall, frisked us and everything, all that stuff. And then once they saw, you know, it was either a false alarm or I don't even know what the alarm was because I don't know what was said to the police to get them to come in the first place.
right.
That part I never know. I just guess. But I remember them coming in. Just imagine had they shot first and not saw we were kids.
That can
Or
happen more often
because we
now.
were in our blankets under the covers. What if they had guessed? What if they had weapons underneath there? Because a lot of things were thrown in the tantrum, so we had toys and stuff in the bed with us. So
it's
a lot of stuff could have been mistaken as a gun. That part, I'm just thinking about that now. But I just always remember the fact that at 8 years old, the police stormed into my house, calling me by name, looking for me,
That
came
has
and
to
snatched me
affect
out of my
you.
bed.
That has to affect
That
you.
is
So-
wild.
Oh, and then they promised they would come back and fix the door too. That never happened. But, you know, that's another story. But so, yeah,
That's
that
cold
was close.
game.
That was close.
For a young,
They seem
what
like they were
you know,
scared.
that's
They were
that's
so
exactly,
scared for some reason.
These scary ass cops, though.
Come
so that's
on,
a whole
sis.
nother
Come on,
conversation.
sis.
How are you
Eight.
to protect
How?
and serve?
How?
And you scared of
and
everything.
you scared.
8.
I
Right.
got the hate part, but
No, I said
okay.
8. I just want to
Oh,
remind you.
8 years old. Right. Okay. Well, so yeah, I went
Eight
off
and
on
hate.
the hate.
Eight
and
and
hate.
Yeah, that too.
8 and hate. How though?
How you
You
so
killing
scared?
kids? You killing kids? You killing
legally
women?
walk around with a gun, billy clubs, taser, all of that.
That
You have
affects
all
me.
of these resources,
That
all of
affects
these
me.
tools to protect
And
the
you shoot
community,
first.
Right.
and you scared of the community.
And
Now,
you shooting first.
Sometimes you ask that rhetorically because
Yes.
you're not always really scared, but that's always a good line.
I was
That's why
gonna
I said-
say,
And
that's
I'm
why
gonna
I
make
said
disclosure
hate.
too. You know, I got a lot of police friends who are great cops, who are good cops.
Yeah,
who
and
I
let's
trust them.
disclaimer.
Ditto.
Right, yeah.
Shout out to the police officers who are committed to the profession for the right
Absolutely.
reasons.
Absolutely. We all
We
have
love you.
friends.
We
Yeah.
need you. More of you.
Yeah, and I worked closely with the police, you know, in my adult years, so I didn't even hold a grudge, you know, from
Yeah.
that. But I do always remember. And whenever I hear the stories of I was scared for my life, or they threatened me, or the famous they lunged at me, I had that one too, but that was another. I'm not going to go into that one. I already know that that's a defense that you already come in the door with because
But now they don't need no defense, Nate. They don't need no
right,
defense.
but you can say all you have to do is say that. Or say that they tried to take my gun. Yeah. I mean, you see the police, you know, wrestling, you know, a guy, and while he's wrestling, quit trying to take my gun.
yeah.
Well, Makai Bryan wasn't anywhere near.
Quit trying to take my
Yeah,
gun.
She
Like,
had a knife in her hand.
are
She
we-
did,
Right.
but she wasn't anywhere near you, sir. So you could not have disarmed her some other kind of way. You had
They
to
train you.
unload your gun.
They
into
train
her?
you.
People are so ready.
They train you.
It's ready.
Okay.
Yeah, so we digress. For me, 2020 started out, I mean, everybody 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, you know, guns, pew, pew, pew. And I got the call that, pew, pew, pew. No, I'm laughing. I'm just trying to bring light to the situation. But I got the call that, you know, my dad died.
Right.
And then when we buried him, then Kobe Bryant and Gigi died in a helicopter crash. And what was interesting about that is my 50th birthday, I did a helicopter tour over LA. And the first thing my daughter said, and you, because my daughter had never been in the sky, period. And I talked her into going for my 50th birthday with me. She said, and you got me up in helicopters and they dropping in and killing people? And I told her, I don't think like that. When
Yeah.
I'm doing something, my mindset is not on dying. You know?
Right.
Like, isn't
Skydiving
it-
right here.
Like, think about it though. That's so true. It's a
Like,
mental
who-
state.
Who he was
That
the
fear is
whole
paralyzing.
thing was about him taking parents and other kids over to practice with his daughter, and you can't mentally prepare that something gonna go wrong and you and your daughter gonna die in a crash.
Yeah.
So for me, death is the thing that has impacted me most in 2020, and it's still impacting me.
Yeah.
I've had post-traumatic stress disorder for years because of other stuff. But 2020 was trauma after trauma, death after death after death after death. Here we are in 2021 and it's still, it's like you can't recover. It's not giving my spirit, my soul, my mind opportunity to recover. So I'm battling with, day to day, I'm trying to fight against depression because this stuff is affecting me.
Yeah.
I mean, we talking about police getting away with murder. The same ones who are here to protect us are killing us and wearing the same uniform.
Yeah.
So how do you function in a world where you need to feel safe? It's too much going on for you not to feel safe, but I can't feel safe with the people commissioned to bring me safety?
Right.
That's affecting me.
Of course it is.
That's affecting
Of course it
me.
It's an unnecessary worry.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't have to be worried about
We
it.
should not. That's the
mean-
last thing we should have to worry
Last thing on
about.
somebody's mind.
Last thing.
So it's 2 pandemics, right? Like, I mean, that's not an
Come
original,
on, sis.
It's not an
That
original
one's been,
thought.
that one's been
That's a
around for
big-
a
Yeah,
while.
it's not
That's
an
been
original
around for a
thought,
while, but now we have to live in the way that our parents lived. And before I let Nate go, let me say this quick. My dad, before he died, he would take his morphine for pain, right? He was in a house by himself, and I was at Pachanga with my mom for her birthday. Dad wasn't answering the phone. Auntie's calling from Texas. Your daddy ain't answering the phone. Somebody need to get over there. I'm calling kids. Go check. Everybody's calling. He not answering. So I'll just do a wellness check. Sent the police over there to the house. Shortly after, they say your dad is fine. So I called my dad. I'm ready to light into him. Dad, how come you wasn't answering your phone? I had this, I'm fired up because everybody's worried. My dad ain't never cussed at me, never yelled at me. My dad went off. Every other word was MF. You sent the mother to my door, and and I was sitting there on the phone like a little 5-year-old, like, I'm in trouble. And so when I was like, Dad, I was concerned about you. I sent them, like nurses do this. I sent them because blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to explain. My dad, I don't give a da. So I said, Dad, what would you have wanted me to do? Now I'm getting mad and trying to defend myself. My dad said, if you got to send the MF police to my door, let me die.
Whoa.
And my dad said, because the reality is, if you let the MFA up in here, can I say it? If you let they motherfucking asses up in here, they could have killed me anyway.
What's gonna happen?
That's wild.
So
That
he
is
said,
so
is
wild.
that crazy?
It's tough.
That
It's
and
real.
let me tell you, when I got the realization, I still thought my dad was overreacting. I said, now he way back in the 60s with his Black Panther fist pumping self. He need to stop. So I'm telling my mother, I don't even understand why he's so mad. When George Floyd, when I saw that video, I said, wow, that's why.
Which was just a reenactment of things we have been seeing.
We've been seeing it,
Yeah,
but
it's just-
but it was
Over
a different
and
thing.
over.
It was a different thing. You know what that video reminded me of? Back in the slave times when they had the people
You had to watch 'em.
watch them hanging,
get whooped.
Yeah.
watch them hanging, Nate. That's
Yeah.
what that took me to. And emotionally, I ain't gonna lie, I'm still there.
Yeah,
I'm still there.
See, I'm still at Latasha Harlins.
listen.
I'm still there. I'm still like everything
Listen.
that's happened after that. I'm still at Rodney King. Like none of this stuff.
Hello.
It's just more layers of the same
It's
thing.
layers.
So I'm not even. I hate to say I'm numb to it.
That's
but-
my word.
But
That's
it's
my
like,
word.
I'm still stuck on that. Like, really?
See, and I'm
Like,
not
we
numb
gonna
to
let
it. I
that-
wish I was numb
Yeah,
to it.
and I don't mean
getting
numb.
numb.
That,
No,
that-
I'm getting
I
numb.
just
I know
mean
what
it's
you
like
mean.
to
I
me
know
it's
what
like
you
if
mean.
I'm getting hit. Or, you hit me 9 times versus 10 times. It's all the same
the
to me.
same.
So I'm still stuck at Latasha Harlins.
I feel
Because
that.
that wasn't justice. That was so far. I mean, you murdered the girl on live TV. The whole world saw. Shot her in the back as she walked away, and they still called it self-defense. There was no clear and imminent danger. That's the deciding factor in
They
self-defense.
don't need. That's what I keep telling y'all. They don't
But
need that no more.
I'm still stuck on that. So
They don't
everything
need that no
else is
more.
like.
They don't need that no
So
more.
here's where my PTSD comes. I know we have a whole
Yeah.
lot to talk. I feel like it's the loop, right? It's the loop of the event, the reaction,
Come on, sis.
the outrage,
Mm-hmm.
the
Quiet before the storm.
the hope,
Mm-hmm.
another event, the reaction, the outrage.
This is why I'm numb.
We still get
That's
to
my numb.
we still get to the hope part though. We still
We
get
gotta
to
have
the
hope.
hope,
You
to
got
some
to.
hope about
You don't, we gonna start tearing
it's
up
gonna
stuff.
Listen, we still hoping the verdict is gonna be right. They're gonna be held accountable. This isn't gonna happen again. A person can go running in their neighborhood and not get shot, or another neighborhood and not get shot. But that event, so that hope comes. Then the event, like it's this cyclical. We can't recover. Even when we get to hope, something happens that takes us back to.
What's that hold then?
cycle.
What is holding it? What's stopping progress? What is and from you guys?
Okay, Youngster, you open it up.
Yeah.
Speak.
Um,
What? What do you think? What's stopping progress?
what's stopping progress? The fact that nobody knows the right answer. There's so many different opinions. There's so many different outlooks on how to fix what's wrong that we don't even want to attempt. It's
Where do
scary.
we start?
Yeah.
Where do we start? I believe that I feel like if we could get over the hump of just ourselves as a generation, where we could say, all right, listen, I understand my generation is fucking it up, and your generation is slowly coming up. You have to fix this. How do we fix this? Because there's a lot. Right? You got to fix it. The younger generation has to fix it. But it's like, how do we fix ourselves if I can't even fix myself? You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Ding, though. Ding, ding, ding.
And
Ding,
it goes
ding,
back,
ding.
and it goes back full circle. It's like, what was the biggest event that affected me last year? It was my own self.
Myself. So I feel like that's where it has to start. It has to be self-accountability. I have to be the change I want to see.
That's
And
good, sis. Say that again.
that's
You gotta say
not-
that again.
It may sound cliche, but it is. I have to be the change I want to see. I got to start with me. I have to be intentional. I can't be over reactionary. I have to be safe. I have to keep my tribe safe. I have to do my part to keep my community safe. It has to start with me as an individual. It does.
And sis, on that note, let me just say this. We're fist pumping Black Lives Matter, but I gotta say this, and this is for a whole nother podcast, but our lives gotta matter to us first.
Right.
Yeah. You
Our
you
lives
hear-
gotta matter to us first.
Right.
You hear the music. We're talking about killing our own.
Right.
It's so easy to think of somebody on a different neighborhood as the ops.
Man,
as
and we
somebody
looking
so
alike.
Right.
You
And
killing,
like-
you hunting yourself.
Right.
Nipsey Hussle said when he was banging and they would go out,
Yeah.
he said they wasn't looking for an athlete,
Right.
a square.
Right.
They was looking for themselves.
Right. Right.
Just like if you ever seen in other neighborhoods, like in Hollywood or Marina Del Rey, when cats start banging on other cats, they zero right in. You can have KKK right here. You can have
Yep.
a skinny.
Ain't paying
They're
them
gonna
no
zero
mind.
right,
Right
in
into-
to the one that looks like
to
them.
the familiar, yeah.
But watch this. Even outside of gangbanging, that's kind of the same thing that people do. They tend to develop a hatred or unknown
I agree
gripe
100%.
between people that are like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a form of self-hate.
It's
You see
self-hate.
yourself,
That's
and
what
then
I'm
you don't like the
saying.
person
That's
because you
what
don't
I'm
like something
saying.
inside
Yeah.
yourself. That's funny because all of you guys' answers is kind of encapsulating my only solution that I think that works for me. And funny, some of this is a fresh revelation I got, and some of it is, you guys might have heard it, and you guys have been in church longer than me. I have, but you really have. But be not conformed to this world,
Right.
but be ye transformed
Speak,
by
sir.
the renewing of your mind.
Yeah.
Speak.
I'm gonna take the biblical part off
Yeah,
for
yeah,
a
let's do
second
that. Let's do that.
because the first part that comes to me is just the renewing of your mind. Like no matter where you are, what your doctrine is, what your faith, everybody knows that the mind is the most powerful tool
Come
in your
on,
body.
sir.
And if you
Yes.
can change your mindset,
Yes.
Come
you
on,
can
sir.
change your
Did we
entire
win?
Change your mindset,
world.
Change your life.
You can change the world around you.
Yes.
You change the way people react to you. You could change the things in your atmosphere.
Come
So
on,
even
sir.
though there's a storm going on in your world,
Yes.
there could be peace.
Yes.
And you have to remember that because this is not new, and that's why it's relevant that Latasha Harlins, it was
Yeah.
30 years ago,
Right.
29, 30 years. But we made it through that.
Yeah.
Our grandparents made it through that. Our
Yeah.
parents made it through that.
Yeah.
Our grandparents made it through the 60s.
Yeah.
Some of our great-grandparents, I mean, they may not
We
here
built
now,
like
but they
that,
made
though.
it through the
We
last
built like
pandemic
that.
Yeah.
in 1820.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of our people made it through slavery. So there's always the group of people who make it.
That's what makes us amazing, though, as a people. Our resilience, let me tell
But-
you,
but
it's
that-
unmatched.
But the resilience comes from within.
Yeah.
Some people, it's law, and I tell my kids, I said, everybody walks out the door and they say there's a 50-50 chance that you might make it.
Yeah. Mhm.
I said, but not with us. Because we're going to speak that I will make it back. We're going to walk
That's
in the
right,
spirit. We're
Nate.
gonna
That's
you already,
right.
You program yourself,
That's
I'm going
right.
to make it back home.
That's right.
And so.
I will live and not die.
I don't know
With
the other
long
route.
life.
All I know is if you walk in victory, there's everything else, and then there's walking in victory.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can just change your attitude, your
Mm-hmm.
world can literally change in a split second.
And it's so easy to affect the ones around you.
Man,
That's good.
But
What
it
you wanna
change,
say? I
but it
see you
changes
bubbling.
things that seem like they're not even related. Like if you
Yeah.
change your attitude, your heart changes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you find doors opening in your
That's
career, and
soul.
things happening in the community where people respond to you differently because something about you has changed. Just like Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
Woo.
Like you just said, it starts with you. So I think that there's always, that principle always exists. No matter how bad things get, somebody has to come out of this alive.
Yeah.
How do you make sure you're the ones that come out alive? And I don't say make sure as though it's 100% guarantee, but at least you can have peace through that. And so,
That's
even
important.
if you live or die, you die in peace.
That's important.
And
That's
you die
important.
as a hero versus dying as a coward. I'm not going to hide in the bushes. If something's happening, I'm going to still go out and live my life.
That's right.
And
that's
one
me.
of the
That's
big things that
definitely-
happened, one of my biggest things for 2020, and it's more than one thing, but it's a bunch of things that I saw.
Most impacted.
Most impactful was really watching a changing of the guard. And what I mean by that was we saw things in the economy flip. We're seeing other ways to watch movies, other ways to hear music, other ways to
world
make
changing.
money.
The
We're
world
seeing things
changing.
and see what's taking the power out of the people that the former gatekeepers don't have the power anymore. They can't monopolize their realm anymore. And I'm talking about in several different realms.
And several different.
Cryptocurrency, streaming,
all that
of
stuff.
that,
But what it
right?
is, because if you think about during the Depression, how many millionaires came out of that Depression? Because they saw opportunities in
I've
that.
heard that.
And last year, when it looked like we were in a depression, I started buying stock.
Yeah.
That's what Nate. Hold on. Let me make this. I'm gonna say this publicly. You're gonna have to help me with that.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not an expert, though. I'm not an
I
expert.
don't care.
I lost a lot of money, too.
I need
But I made
some
some.
guidance.
Okay.
I just need some guidance because
God.
as a culture, we're behind the curve with that.
Yeah.
And women, Black women in particular, we shining right now. But we need to be educated on that. Just so I mean, we're already powerful, but we need to be more educated on finance to make the necessary moves we should be making in this time and day. So,
starts
you're gonna have to plug
Right.
me with that.
And like I said, with me myself, like I said, I made some money, but the mindset that it put me in was that I'm going to find a way to insulate, at least financially,
That's
insulate
what's up.
ourselves from this.
That's what's up.
And then why stop there? Okay, what about when everybody else is going through depression? Everybody else, let's keep peace in our household. Let's
on.
insulate ourselves.
Prospering
You know what I
in
mean?
the pandemic.
And then when everybody else is confused, why don't I just go seek within myself? Why don't I go
That's
pray,
good.
meditate? Why
That's
don't I
rich.
find different ways so that I can walk out of this rich in more than ways than just money? Just because going back to the 2019 prophecy, we're supposed to come out of this
Come out.
with great possessions. We're supposed to come out of this on top. That was part of the promise as well. Is when you come out of the captivity of 400 years, they're going to take oppression. They're going to reverse the order, so those who were oppressed become the leaders now. And
The
you're
last gonna be first.
yeah, you're seeing that in so many different ways. So I just started positioning myself to get in that. And I'm seeing it happen for other people. And I'm glad for them because it's showing that these walls that were up are not as real as we tried to make them seem.
It's all mental. Everything's mental.
Let's talk about this. And this is gonna get us to the gut of our topic. By the way, I bought a Time magazine that had the highlights of 2020. And when I tell you, just looking at the cover, wasn't it a lot going on? You got orange face. You got Kamala and Biden in office. You got Kobe. You got Black Lives Matter. You got the fires. You got the pandemic. Like, that's all they can fit on the cover.
Yeah, they left off John
right,
Lewis.
Right. They left a lot of stuff out, but it was a lot. He's inside though. But there was a lot going on for 1 year. But what I wanted to talk about was, why is the theme now hate? It's a lot of hate going on. So you had, after the George Floyd, during that time, they found two men within 2 weeks of each other, Andre's age, hanging in the courtyard from a tree in 2020.
Here in Southern California, right?
Yeah, there was one in Lancaster.
Exactly. Yes. In 2 weeks. Then there was this fear that they was just gonna start snatching black men off the street
I
and
definitely
find them
thought
hanged.
that.
I did
definitely
too.
thought that. Yeah.
I did too. And then it went from that to we still getting killed, and no explanations. And to me, I'm gonna say this: even if we have trials and all, I didn't even watch the trial because I'm already emotionally in turmoil. And I knew at the end they was going to piss me off anyway. I knew at the end, if he wasn't getting anything less than an electric chair, I was going to be mad. I wanted to see a gas mask. I wanted to see the public.
That's tough.
I wanted to see a
tough.
public
She was real.
execution. Yeah. But so I didn't want nothing less than that. I didn't want. So I didn't even get my soul involved in that because I already had my mind made up. Right. And I'm sorry, y'all, if it's interpreted any way other than my true, authentic self. That's really for real how I was feeling. So I didn't get involved in that. However, then you got them busting old folks upside the head.
Right.
And I love my old folks. Let me tell you something. The way our culture was, they were esteemed. Mm-hmm. You know, growing old is such an honor.
It is. It is.
And to just grasp somebody beating up somebody old, that didn't feel good to me at all. No, it pissed me off. It
always pisses me off.
Yeah. And then they went from that, and now they start hating on the Asians.
Yeah.
And, you know, hate against anybody is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But now there seems to be this rising theme of hate. And primarily, I'm going to say it. It's by the ones who most privileged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, what you hating for?
There's a lot of bored people out there, too, unfortunately.
I'm going to watch my words, but the hate is... And then, let me tell you, I think that the hate spearheaded this recent, like, cloud of hate over the last few years because 45 was so reckless in his words and conduct. Oh, yeah. Just with that whole, what was it? Stand back and stand by. And then you done pump people up to thinking they can cause an insurrection in the Capitol.
Take over.
Right.
Yeah.
You got them gassed up.
So it's just an unveiling, right? I mean, it's just.
It ain't no secret. Ain't no secret. But now the way you exposing it is taking us back to the South 60 years ago. Like, y'all, this boldness with the hate, like now you can go, I like Laguna Beach. Mm-hmm. Or I like Orange County. I like hanging out in those places, you know, nice. just for whatever reason. But I like hanging out in those areas. And now I got this little apprehension. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I like to wear my Black Girls Rock sweatshirt. My daughter said, Mama, you just can't be going out with your favorite sweatshirt like that. But let me tell you, one time I went out and I had my Black Girl Magic sweatshirt on, and I ain't gonna lie, I was mad. I wanted to fight. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple sitting there, a European couple sitting there. And I was just I had my Pandora in, but I happened to take the Pandora out because I'm trying to take a picture. Yeah. And so when I pulled my plug out, she said, what magic? And then he made a slick remark about magically twerking, he started running the list down, but I'm right there. And I'm saying in my mind, don't get your bra smacked up out here.
Please don't.
But it affected me. Yeah, and then, it circled me back to what my daughter said. She was like, yeah, Mom, it ain't cool like that because you got to be prepared for what you going to have to deal with. And I said, dang, I'm 52. I don't want to be out here scrapping like I did in my 20s because I want to wear my little sweatshirt.
Or have to hide. Your
Or
self-expression.
have to worry about some young, spry whippersnappers doing something to me. You know, hitting me upside the head or knocking me out because during that time, they was knocking women out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Knocking when you go to Orange County, they was on the corner with their signs and dragging people out of cars and all. Like, the hate is real. And so, tell me.
I feel like 45 did have a lot to do with that, right? Mm-hmm. I will never acknowledge him as my president. But a lot of people felt like he is my president, and now I can be myself.
Who voted for him?
And I had lots of people. You would be surprised.
I was underneath the water. I didn't vote. I'll be honest. I'll take that.
How many people you know?
I know.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people.
I was on social media, and some people I blocked them.
I mean, people you work with and stuff. People you know have voted for him. I feel like it's. Andre said people are bored. I think people are. You know, this is a lot. Like, so if we're experiencing this, working from home, all of these other stressors, right? The whole world is feeling this stress. And obviously, I'm not condoning any bad behavior, right? But I'm just speaking to it being the perfect storm for all of this to erupt, right? Yeah. So you have an idiot as the leader of idiots. I mean what I'm saying.
No, 100%.
And the unveiling of all of this hate, people losing jobs, can't wipe their ass, ain't no toilet paper.
Right.
Like, you know, it's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
So I gotta be mad at somebody. I gotta find. I'm not gonna focus in.
Well,
Right,
you have
right,
a
right.
point. You have a
But
point.
that's the problem right there.
Right.
Because when you don't focus
When
in,
you don't focus in,
then you don't do because the solution is always fix yourself.
Right.
Yes.
So when you don't focus in,
Too
you're gonna
many
start looking out
distractions.
there,
Yes.
and everybody else is the enemy now.
right.
Antisocial
Wow, now
behavior,
that's now-
antisocial behavior of all
Right.
sorts
Oh, that's good.
come from that.
Right.
You're not checking
Exactly.
yourself.
You're not
You-
checking yourself. So I'm projecting all of this stuff. And I'm not gonna do my work. I'm gonna just project and be mad at that stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about it.
So what's the solution? Since we identified why the hate, because you ain't dealing with yourself, you ain't working on yourself, you're not focused on yourself. Well, how do we
I
fix
think
that?
That is a lot right there. But I think one thing I noticed is that we have a lot of bipolarism. And what I mean by that, and it doesn't have to be clinical.
Yeah, right.
Because with a bipolar person goes from all the way one extreme to the
one
other.
extreme.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, and I say us as
Yeah.
a people, we
Yeah.
take on some bipolar traits.
I agree.
Where
100%.
if you're not all the way over here with this, then you must be all the way over there.
Right.
And you could put it in politics. If you voted for this, then that means you're all the way these
Yeah.
things. And if you voted over
Yeah.
here, you're all the way these
I
things.
agree 100%.
You're not allowing people to have nuances
Yeah.
and be in the middle.
figures.
So you can take some of this, and I agree with this, and I can agree with that. They don't allow that. You're always one or the other. That's why you can't be pro-black without being anti-white
Right.
in their minds.
Right.
And that's why that's a threat, because you wouldn't even have to utter all lives matter unless you felt Black Lives Matter was threatening your all lives.
Right.
That's a bipolar way of thinking. Why
Right.
can't somebody be for their own culture and stand for their
Literally.
culture
Why?
and still appreciate somebody else's
Why?
culture and still love somebody else? Just because I love me doesn't mean I hate you.
Speak
But that's
on
the way
that.
they see it. If you love you, then you must hate me. How idiotic is that?
Asinine.
If you love yourself, you must hate me.
Right.
If you love black people, then you must hate white people. If you
The
believe
craziest thing.
if you believe Black Lives Matter, then you must not believe that
You
all
must-
other lives matter too.
right.
Like it's a bipolar
It's
way
crazy.
of thinking.
I agree.
So we need
That's
balance.
crazy.
People need balance.
I
That's
agree.
crazy.
The world needs balance.
It's tough.
The world needs to allow people, and you quoted me this because I be forgetting what I'm saying. I'm gonna forget what I said today. But when
I
you
won't.
but when you said respecting people in their space, when you quoted me as saying respect people in their space,
That was a powerful.
you're
powerful-
allowing people to be themselves. That means that you can like this and you can hate this. You can like hip hop but still listen to some classical music. You don't have to be all one thing.
You don't have to be all one thing.
And so you're allowing people to just be a full expression of their whole selves.
Right.
You know what I mean? We
That's
have a
what I
whole
wanna see.
person. We
That's
have a
what I
whole
wanna
person.
see.
We have a physical person. We have a spiritual person, and we have a mental person.
That's right.
Allow,
Mind, body, and soul,
allow,
baby.
That's it.
exactly.
Literally, mind, body,
That's
and
it.
soul.
Allow people to like some things and dislike some things, and don't label people just because of
100%.
one conversation that you had with them.
So easy.
And allow people to change their mind when they get new information.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
it.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
I can change my
I
mind.
felt a way about a thing, and now I have some new information. I don't necessarily
Right,
believe
right.
that
So don't
anymore.
remind me about
Right.
4
You know
years
what I'm
ago
saying?
or what I might have
Like,
said 4 years ago.
I have the capacity to evolve.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw Godzilla
Say that
versus
again.
Kong.
I have the
have the
capacity
capacity
to
to
evolve.
First, I was rooting for
I was
Godzilla.
rooting for
though.
Kong.
See, Godzilla
Then he
was my
got
boy.
whooped, and then I changed my mind. I was like,
Yeah. You bad. You way bad.
That was a good one. That was a good analogy. Oh my
It
God.
happens. And I think some of us are so attached to a thing, right?
ideology.
Well, you said,
Ideology. Yeah, that's
you
ideology.
believed,
That's it.
you told me, okay, that's what I thought.
It's
at the
like the
time.
whole vegan thing.
And I'm not
You
saying
can't-
be wishy-washy, right? I'm not saying be all, exactly. I'm not saying be all over the place. But as I get a new information about a thing, perhaps my perception about that thing changes.
Yeah.
As with people and experiences, all of that. If you get new information, oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Right.
Right, right.
I didn't know that about that person.
Right.
I see you differently. You know?
And you don't have to be a vegan to like vegan food.
Hello.
Hey,
That
I
part.
ain't
You
gonna
don't have to make your own candles and walk around barefoot.
You
and
don't.
make headscarves out of
Get you,
pillowcases
Nate. No.
in order to like vegan food. I'm just giving an example.
I'm just playing right.
I didn't even know
I'm
this.
just playing right.
Ooh, y'all, man.
I'm the
I
hotel
love
in
you.
my crew.
I
I'm
love
really
you.
not a
I
hotel.
love you.
But yeah.
So I got a deep question for you, and just give me a yes or no on this, so we won't go, because we can go. This is another show too. Does America feel like home?
America is my home. This is the home I know.
This is all I know too.
This is the home I know.
But does it feel like home?
it feels like I am a stepchild.
No, on some real
really.
stuff.
It
Okay.
On some real
feels
stuff.
like
Yeah.
I'm a stepchild of the family a lot. But this is my home. I'm a ponder on that a little bit more.
No, that question came to me in a dream, actually. And I couldn't even answer it for myself because, yes, this is all I know.
Yeah.
But if I deal with the soul of this thing, first of all, home is supposed to be a place where you feel like you belong.
Yeah.
And you can be your authentic self.
Yeah.
I don't feel as a 52-year-old black woman that I belong. Like they not making me feel like my citizenship is what it should be worth.
Which is some shit because we built the whole country.
Come
right?
on.
Which also, but that gives you a level of equity that you deserve, whether somebody else believes you deserve
That's
it or
right.
not.
Like you
That's
shouldn't
part-
be
Well, here's the
that's where-
thing.
that's where I was going.
So you make it your home, even if nobody else believes it, you believe it.
I'm with you 100%,
I know
and I
you are.
agree
I know you are.
100%.
I know you are.
But that's
And
why I
and
said
know what you're
I'm
saying, too.
ambivalent
I know what you're
about
saying,
it.
too. I know what you're saying,
Like,
too.
like I shouldn't even have to feel like this ain't my home when I know the blood of my ancestors is on this thing. So don't play. I deserve to be here more than you do. If we all got some Indian in our family, but we was here first. No, we was here first.
Right.
Native American.
Yeah, Indian, Native American.
Christopher
Sorry.
Columbus thought he
Okay.
was an Indian.
And Native
Yeah.
American.
But seriously, there's no reason why
I
I
was gonna say
shouldn't
something silly there.
feel like America's my home. Now, this
Yeah.
leads me to the next question. Lila,
Well,
you going
I
to
wanna
answer
say
this.
something
Oh,
about that before
go.
we-
Go.
yeah,
Okay,
don't
you
lose your
know
thought.
I'm getting excited.
Because it goes back to that bipolar thing.
Okay.
If you have a complaint about something going on, oh, you don't love America, get out. You're not a
If you
patriot.
don't like it, go to Africa.
So you're either a patriot or you hate America because you have a complaint about something going on. It's like being in a
Right.
relationship. If you have a complaint about something and you try to bring it to the table, oh, you don't like this relationship, then get out. You know what I mean? And
true,
sometimes
though.
I compare America to an abused woman in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because watch this, because you'll hear stuff like, well, you get all this, you get to live like this, you got the NBA, you got to make all this
What
money,
you
you get to
complaining
this.
about?
I've even heard ignorant statements back in the day. We took y'all out of Africa and gave y'all welfare. That's a whole nother topic. But they want to point out all
Kings
the
and
great
queens.
things that happened to you. You get to make all this money. You get to, what are you complaining about? So if a rich man is beating his wife and he
come
puts her
on.
in a fly car and dresses
Come
her
on.
up and
She deserves
couture,
it. She should shut up
She-
and deal with it.
Right, and that's,
That's
how I feel like
crazy.
America's like
That's
an
a great
abused woman. It's
Great
like
analogy.
just because you have it good doesn't mean you don't have some complaints that
That's
you have
right.
a legitimate
Great
right to
That's right.
complain for.
That's right.
And they don't give you that gray area because as soon as you start complaining about something, oh, you don't like America,
questioning
well, get
your
out.
patriotism.
Exactly, exactly. Why can't you be in a relationship and enjoy the other perks, but you want some other things to be right too? Why not ask for everything? Why can't you have it all?
While we talking about bipolar, answer this question, and this might take us. Like, what time is it?
But don't
It's
forget
about the
you had a
time?
question for Lila though. Before I rudely interrupt you.
No,
my
that's
sister.
why I'm
so
going
sorry.
to. Yes,
Oh.
for sure.
Okay.
Do Black Lives Matter?
Yes.
Okay, but do you think that
Oh, do
Black-
they matter to
to
everybody
them.
else?
to them, we know they matter. We know Black Lives Matter. My position is I think they don't want us. They want us to believe that they don't.
I have a question.
But
I'm gonna
Lila,
let you go
answer
first.
that question.
Well, let me hear Nate's question.
My
I'm not
question
gonna-
is, who is the proverbial they?
They.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
now.
I'm sorry, I keep pointing. And stuff.
right.
Okay, I'm glad. It wouldn't be politically correct for me to say what I want to say,
okay,
so
okay.
I ain't gonna say it.
Okay, let's just say
Ain't
that-
gonna say it.
Okay, we know
They.
that they is a proverbial
Yeah,
group of people.
whoever
Yeah,
they are.
Whoever that they are.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, based on the evidence, not always.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. I want to hear some
So-
real, authentic answers. Do Black Lives Matter?
No, not to everybody. They don't. They don't. You're showing me.
It's hard to
repeatedly
say
every
that.
single
It's
day
hard to say that,
they
but-
don't. And to Nate's point earlier, like me loving myself doesn't mean I hate you. What always is missing or has always been missing from the hashtag is Black Lives Matter too.
Two.
That's the
That's-
whole point.
And it's always been implied. We always
Right.
understood
We
that.
We matter as well.
That's all it ever meant.
That's all it ever
That's
meant.
all it
Inclusive.
means. That's it.
Inclusive.
Yeah, but behavior in this country does not dictate that Black Lives Matter.
Ain't that a cold? That's cold game.
I'm gonna layer that question
That's
again.
cold game. Come
Do
on,
Black
Nate.
Lives Matter to Black people?
Listen.
Hey, I said we need a whole show on that.
Real talk. So the they is not just the they.
Right.
We're
They,
thinking,
that's right.
Right?
Let's keep
All
that-
right.
keep that clear.
That's why I
us.
said they.
Do
'cause
they matter
can-
to our brothers and sisters? Do they matter to you? Do they matter? Right. We got to answer
This
that
is a question we gotta answer. We gotta answer that for ourselves and the world we living in right now. We gotta ask before we start telling people Black Lives Matter. We gotta answer that within ourselves. Does our life matter?
And audience, y'all not gonna like this, but I have to say this. So there was a lot happening at one. I mean, we've had so many deaths, so many protests, so many Black, and not just in 2020, 2021, just for years now,
Yeah.
right? We can go to the Eric Brown, the Michael Browns, the Eric Garners, all of those people, right? But all of us Black folks killing each other in Chicago. I hate black on black crime, so I'm not talking about that. But I am talking about brothers and sisters killing themselves.
Sick
It's
of
not
it.
just Chicago, Los Angeles. I hear helicopters every single
me too.
night.
Mhm. Me
Next
too.
door, Ring camera,
I got an
somebody
app
getting
that
stabbed,
is showing,
shot,
yeah.
It's a
gunshots,
war. It's
all
just
of
a
that.
war.
You know
Right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
It's a war home.
So at some point, we have to behave
Domestic
different.
terrorists.
We got to behave differently with each other. And again, that starts with us.
Change.
Maybe that goes to show that evil. Well, let me say this: Black lives matter to the people that count, meaning that they're good and bad people within every color.
Yeah.
So just like before there was a hashtag Black Lives Matter, we still had these same problems. We still
Yeah.
had these same
Yeah.
crimes. We just weren't necessarily asking this question: do they matter to us? Because that terminology to create a hashtag wasn't there. But there's always going to be stupid, ignorant people. I hate to say it, there always will be, but there always has been. And they've been they were always a problem within our community. They're a problem within
Are we out
Hispanic
time?
community. They were Latino community. They're a problem within the white community. Ignorant people, evil people, they're always going to be the problem, no matter what color or form they come in. So Black lives do matter. And I will say this, they matter to the ones that count, because the people that love and respect you of every color, they're the ones that are going to have your back. They're the ones who are rooting for
I
you.
agree.
There are a lot of people out there that are
There
in the
are.
protests with you, even in spirit or physically out there.
I want them to start doing stuff, though. I want them to start doing more to show,
Sure.
other than the whole parade fist pumping thing. Now, we got 1 minute, and I knew we wasn't going. That's why I had to jump right in, because I knew we weren't going to be able to cover everything. But we're going to close on a positive note. How do you find? And I wanted to ask I wanted to ask you guys, Nate and Andre. Do you think the Constitution applies to you? So give me a yes or no. I know that was a deep one. Huh?
You want a one-word answer for that?
No, I mean,
Right.
because we got to close with positivity. So I need to hear that.
Wow.
Do you feel like the Constitution applies to you? Yes, no.
It's not that simple.
Really?
I know that's a hard one.
Yes, because I'm gonna
We need
make it
another
apply.
shot.
I'm gonna make it apply. But
Okay.
it was not intended for me.
Okay,
That's for sure.
good answer.
I literally spent 6 years believing that it is.
Okay,
You know.
where are you? What's your position at this moment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that, because he did fight for our country, so he should believe in what he fought for. Now, on the last note, how do you find peace? How do you find how do you, in a country of hate, how do you call it home, and what do you do to find peace, personal peace, That's it. What do you do to find personal peace? We're going to do a round robin.
Okay.
What do you do to find personal peace in a country full of hate?
I won't say that I get used to it, but I've already accepted that people are going to be people.
Okay.
The world is going to be the world. I walk by faith, not by sight. I just use the spirit to navigate, me, because these problems have always been here. I got my own issues, navigating my own world. So I go within.
You don't let the outside get inside.
Oh, definitely not. And, I mean, sometimes I slip and let it sleep in,
are
but then me knowing that that's my paradigm, that's my only.
I'm gonna do a
safety
one
net.
word because we could actually spend a segment, a whole. We
I
can
don't- I
spend
don't know
a
how to
show
talk in
talking
one
about
word. I don't know how to
personal
talk in one word.
things for personal. I know we never, none of us do, but mine is mindfulness. Like the moment is the most essential thing for me that brings me peace. I find peace in every moment. Like this moment is very, very rich to me. I don't know what we're gonna walk out there and face, what next year looks like, what the rest of this year looks like, but right here and right now, I find peace in my mindfulness.
Yeah.
That's me.
Disclaimer: my thoughts are mine and not and not those of my employer or anyone else I am affiliated with.
Right.
I edify Black people and uplift and support Black women.
I love it, love it, love it. That's why she's my sister. Dre.
I find peace in common sense. I find peace in knowing that things happen for a reason. God has my back, and I have a plan.
There you go.
Simple.
Woo, what a way to close a show. Let me tell you, I need y'all.
There's never enough time.
We're gonna have to have a family talk because I need some commitment from somebody. I need y'all to come back here with me, please.
Got you. What's up?
Okay,
This is great.
but this dialogue and this content was rich. There's no way you could dismiss that this was rich content. I encourage you to use that same thumb that you use to scroll the timeline to hit the like and share button. And this concludes our podcast of the Vibe of the Tribe.